Hello everybody, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 trading. This week we are discussing the last day of May, May 31st up to Friday, June 4th. So we're now officially into June, starting this week. And with that comes the NFP news, of course. I'll just bring up the economic calendar here so we can make sure we know what's going on. Going to be a pretty quiet, slow day for Monday. I can't see a whole lot of movement in the market, so wherever you are in the world, probably a good idea if you don't get an official holiday to probably take the day off of trading, because you're probably not going to see a whole lot of action happening, especially with any markets attributed to the pound sterling or the US dollar. Going into Thursday, just be careful. We've got an Australian news, an Australian dollar, interest rate decision. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, hard to get that one out. They're not predicting any movement in the interest rates as usual. This has kind of been the story of the first part of this year. But I do think that towards the latter part of this year, we may start seeing them moving these a little bit. As you can, if you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard that inflation is really starting to creep up, and it's actually increasing at a very rapid pace. In the U.S., I think they were only predicting about a 3% increase in inflation, and it came out to be like over 4%, and so it's getting pretty crazy. And you can see it by just going to the grocery store, folks. Wherever you are in the world, I'm pretty sure that whatever you bought this time last year is probably 20% cheaper, or was 20% cheaper so than what it is now. So again, that's attributed directly to the interest rates, and so I think as inflation starts creeping, they're going to have to start raising these rates. So nothing for Aussie, but again, with the bank holiday going in Monday, and then the rate statement on Tuesday, I would definitely not be looking at trading anything on the Australian dollar until after that. But I do think we probably will see a push higher, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. We've got OPEC meetings, and then we've got ISM manufacturing for the US dollar, and then we've got GBP, Governor Bailey speaking for the pound sterling at 11, and then we've got an FOMC member speaking, and then we've got another Australian dollar GDP numbers so pretty heavy hitting day on Tuesday. We will definitely see the markets moving quite a bit. Wednesday we've got a European holiday, so just watch for that. Won't affect too much because it's an Italian bank holiday, so not a huge issue there. And then Thursday we get into the typical chop rate ahead of NFP, which is obviously on Friday. Lots of heavy high impact news events for Friday, and so just watch for that. You definitely don't want to be trading NFP because they aren't as predictable as they should be. And especially last NFP, it moved quite a bit. So we could see this NFP do the same thing as well too. So just be very, very careful. If you are going to trade this week, then I would highly recommend you wait until Tuesday and finish up your trading by Wednesday, and just kind of have a shortened week. And hopefully we can get out of this week on the positive side and get into it. But now just keep in mind, so I want to just bring this to your attention. We've obviously been trading in a nice range here for the past 2 weeks. Up until Friday, I can't see this thing leaving this range. I would imagine NFP on Friday will probably move it out of the range finally. But I don't foresee the price for US dollar going significantly higher or lower until that news driver on Friday. So just keep that in mind. We're probably still going to be in this range for a little bit. We were looking at the highs, these highs in here getting run out. We've seen that now. I don't foresee them coming above this high and back up above this high. I think they're going to eventually start to drop this thing lower, and we can see, I believe the target's going to be 89.30. Whether we get there this week or not, and that's just this old low rate in here, and then ultimately this low here at 89.15, I think is going to be the target. But I don't think we're going to get there before Friday, so just keep that in mind. Whoops, hit the wrong button. Meant to zoom in. So just keep that in mind. I foresee us just kind of banking around in here for the next few days, and then after Friday, I'd like to see price start to roll over and go lower. That's ultimately where I think they're going to be bringing price. There's some unfinished business lower in the market, and I think they're going to want to take it down there, and possibly a swing below here longer term, but we'll have to wait until these lows here are breached. So you'll have to be very, very nimble in the markets. You know, talking about EurUsd, same thing. I don't foresee them going lower than this candle here. They really hit that and rejected that very, very quickly. But just be careful. You know, still, they just because I say I don't think they can come back down here doesn't mean they won't. We had a target these lows here on last week. We finally got that on Friday, and targets to the upside are going to be next. I think eventually we will start trading back in the intended direction, and we'll see price at 123.50 and higher on euro going forward. You can see what they've done here. Nice trend to the upside. Consolidation, drop down, rebalance, punch higher, consolidation, drop down, rebalance, and I think the next swing to the upside is what we're going to see. So I'd like to see them get above this high here on Friday. If they don't, then for sure next week. But the 2260, 2270 level, I think, is going to be the target. So we'll see if we get that. Looking at this on a lower time frame, I don't want to see them go back below these lows down here. I'd like to see them defend that and stay above this. So if we do see price go below there, then obviously they've got something else in mind, and all bets are off, and we could see maybe them come below this low here. I don't know. So that's kind of what my line in the sand is this week on EurUsd. As long as they stay above these lows here, I think we're going to see continuation to the upside. So my targets will be up here for end of the week. GbpUsd, again, more consolidation. You know, same old here. This is kind of the ongoing theme here for the past couple of weeks. Had that rebalance, but we did it on Thursday last week instead of Friday. You can see euro, we hit that low on Friday. GBP actually did that on Thursday of last week, and you can see now the time of this video where markets are open and we're starting to trade a little bit higher. Again, you know, we'll probably see this thing. We won't have a big range, I think, going into Monday because of the bank holiday, but I think Tuesday, Wednesday we could start pushing this. And my target is up here. Obviously, this old high here, we just failed to get up there about a week and a half ago, and price decided to stay in this consolidation. So I'm hoping that we're going to push above that and beyond moving forward, because there's, should maybe go out to a weekly. There we go. And then there's these old highs in here where I think it's just going to push and punch right above that. And then we will be essentially back to where the GbpUsd was pre-Brexit, back in 2000 and what was that, summer of 2016, when it punched up and then dropped like that. And we haven't been there since. So that's, I think, on tap next for GbpUsd. As long as we stay above these lows, I think we're going to achieve that this week. Aussie, again, this has been in a very, very long, extended consolidation period. And I was saying in here, actually, to some of my members that this thing is really forming into quite a wedge right now. And it will break out and it will spring out of this area. I'm hoping it'll spring higher as the US dollar drops lower. We had that run down here to kind of break this retail trend line that we had going here. So that was my target on last week. So that target was achieved there. And I think from here, they start running this thing higher. I'd like to see them start breaking these highs and eventually getting above these guys there. And then ultimately, I'd like to see them get above this high here, the high for the month of May. I'd like to see them going above that going forward. Now, keep in mind, I mentioned this to you guys last week. We are now officially in summer trading. Well, as of Tuesday anyway. A lot of major traders start to kind of wind things down a bit for the summer holidays. Obviously, now that the world is starting to open up a bit, I think more travel plans is in the horizon for a lot of people. And so, you know, the amount of money that normally would be in the markets is, I think, going to move to the sidelines a little bit for the next couple of months until September picks up. So, you know, don't expect a whole lot. You know, we may get a nice trending range, which would be great to see. It did happen last year. for the months of June, July, but August was definitely a go nowhere month. And so, you know, not to say that there aren't great opportunities just because it is the summer, but it is the summer. So, you know, you want to definitely be very cautious on that going forward. UsCad, I'm waiting for this thing to drop lower as well too. Again, very, very tight range, very extended consolidation. It's very similar to Australian dollar. For about the past 3 weeks, it's been in this range, not going anywhere. We do have lower prices that I think they could want to get below. We just briefly breached this low here, and now I think the next low is going to be here. So as that US dollar continues to drop, I think it's going to pull UsCad down with it. But again, especially in Canada, and this is where I'm from, inflation has really been playing a toll, and the Bank of Canada is already starting to talk about increasing rates. So this direction momentum could change on a moment's notice if the Bank of Canada decides to come out with a rate increase. So I'll just you know, make sure you keep that in mind. Now it could drive it lower, because ultimately when a currency does increase their interest rates, it typically does strengthen the currency a bit. And obviously, as you can see, UsCad is fairly strong compared to the US dollar at the moment. So the US dollar has actually been losing value compared to the Canadian dollar. So you can see, then that's why we've seen this steady decline. But it wouldn't take much for the US to raise those interest rates, and then it could turn this tide and turn the tide around on UsCad. So we'll see what happens. But just, you know, again, not a whole lot to say here because we're still in this range. I would like to see NFP this Friday start to kick this thing out of the range, kick it in the ass, so to speak, and get it moving somewhere, because it's not a lot to talk about while this is happening. Now, the one thing you definitely want to keep in mind, though, we do have these equal highs up here. I think there could be a chance, and you saw on Euro, we saw the big dive, we saw on cable, we saw the big pop up or big dive on Thursday. Australian dollar did it on Friday. UsCad hasn't done anything. We haven't seen a big rally higher yet on UsCad, and even the dollar, right? The US dollar, we got that big run up on Friday. UsCad's been very, very muted, so I am expecting them to ultimately get above those highs there and run those highs as the other ones similarly ran the lows. So I'm waiting for that. So just keep that on your radar. These highs right in here is what I'm looking for price to do. May do that and then continue lower. Ultimately, I think this thing probably will eventually trade lower, but just keep that in mind before you decide to go ahead and get short on UsCad. There is a potential that they could fire this thing up about 100 pips before they do so. Okay. Crude oil, we've got some obviously OPEC meetings starting on Tuesday, and then crude oil inventory numbers on Wednesday. Nice little return lower in here, breaking this retail trend line. Again, these retail trend lines, these are very, very highly suspect, and I've told you guys that lots before, that they like to run down and take guys out who are long in this market and who've been trailing their stops too tight. Stop run, and then a retracement right back into the original direction. So I think there's a chance. I'd like to see them come down and rebalance at the 64.20 level and then resume higher on crude oil. But I think ultimately, I mean, we're so close. We're so close now to this old high here, and then we've got these old highs up into here where we could be running. And obviously, you know, they're approaching price or I guess consolidating price to springboard it one way or another, and I think they're going to take it higher again moving forward. So just keep that in mind if you're a crude oil trader. I think we're going to see higher prices, but I would like to see this rebalance back down. It's basically just a rebalance back down to this level here, swing below these lows here, rebalance, and then another kick higher is what I'm looking for. So I'd like to see that going forward this week on crude oil. And finally, on gold, this market has been unwilling to go lower. As US dollar has been consolidating, gold is just continuing to plow higher. So they could be forecasting, you know, what's to come in the US dollar. My target on last week was 1900, so I gave you guys that last week. So that target has been achieved, and we got that early in the week last week there. That was right off the gate. We popped above and right into that. I think it was on Wednesday's trading. We crushed that 1900 level. So great to see. My next target is 1933 on gold, and then if we breach 1933, I think this old high here at close to 1960 is going to be the next target for me on gold. So for all you gold bugs out there, this is exactly what you want to see Obviously, price moving higher in one direction on gold. Nice to see. Nice trending market. So I'm expecting more of that to come. That's all I've got for you guys this week. Thank you very much for watching. Again, it's going to be a bit of a quiet week to start off the new month because NFP on Friday and then all the bank holidays on Monday. Could be a couple of opportunities to strike on Tuesday and Wednesday, so keep that in mind. And other than that, I will catch up to you guys this time next week with another weekly market review. And for all of my members, I will see you guys in the chat room tomorrow, Monday morning, New York Open. Thanks for watching. And remember to please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already.